Will is voracious. Will loves knowledge. He loves to set goals for himself. He loves to challenge himself. And most of all, he loves growth. I think that it's always been a great pairing with him and I of we both love learning new things. We both love challenging each other intellectually.
A lot of our time spent together is about, debating things, maybe issues I'm having, what might be a don't do that or do this instead turns into a 2-hour long debate about just some minute point at all. He's always, just very bright and insightful and, just this person that I know that if I have, some question or a problem, I can come to him and he's gonna give me a raw, unfiltered, very, human response. And I always appreciate that.
We both love games and love strategy and problem solving. Recently, I got into Magic the Gathering after he fought for me to be interested for a very long time. And so I got into it, and so we did a lot of Magic the Gathering, and DC Deck Builder was a game that we both committed a lot of time and resources to. And so it was a lot of him and I spending time in game stores or at coffee shops talking and playing these games and challenging ourselves. And the mental exhaustion at the end, we were both always like, oh my God. But it was just a really good way to spend time both doing what we both really appreciate and love, as well as talking through goals and plans for the future.
I've had 2 mentors. I was with Herschel up until 5th grade or so, maybe 4th, and then I've been with Jay since 5th or 6th grade. A lot of mentors show up differently depending on what their youth need. For me, Herschel showed up in my younger years very much as the just kind of fun place to hang out and be and go do stuff. But as I got older, Jay really showed up in this a little bit of a tough love, kinda, I'm gonna hold you accountable. When I'd act out or do something dumb, he'd be the first person to tell me, and the last person. He'd really just drive it home. And he was a great role model, I think. That's really how it is.
To really do this work, the work is always changing, and so it's really important to continue to educate mentors and the adults who support these youth. And so we go through trainings every year around different things, whether it's literacy training, whether it's trauma-informed training. It is centered around the work and making sure that we are the best equipped to do our jobs. Being a mentor looks very different depending on who you're supporting. And so it could be we're doing homework and reading one day, the next day might be we're running around the park or learning to ride a bike. The next day could be we're at OMSI and learning about a new exhibit at OMSI. So it's really different every day and with every kiddo.
I think that's something that this program is super, super good at, is if a kid wants, super outdoorsy person, right? Okay, cool, well, we got 2 different buildings with 2 different gyms, and one of them has this outdoor yard, one of them's right next to a park. Need help with homework? Well, cool, we have study spaces, we have places where multiple kids will come together and all do homework together if you need that. You're showing up once a week to do something, but there are a lot of small, different clubs or events that happen that you can always tap into, which is great. I mean, not being somebody super social, but I was really into biking when I was younger. Okay, cool, in the summer there was this, I think it was a once a week, everyone would get together and go for a bike ride around the city. Awesome. That was super enjoyable. There's a ton of things like that in this program.
We're lucky enough to have a youth engagement team, which is phenomenal. And what they do is they partner with outside organizations as well as with mentors internally to identify what youth are looking for and see if there are any trends and patterns, and provide opportunities for youth to have programming in the offices, drop-in spaces where they can have those needs met. We've partnered with OMSI, we've partnered with the Blazers. We are able to provide youth a match for what we call their spark. So what is your interest? There are enough youth who have the same interest. Let's find something that we can bring in and have a fun activity around or have a learning piece around. We also have things like councils, which are allowing for adolescent youth to have time with other adolescent youth in a structured space where they're able to speak about kind of some of the hard things about being adolescents and are able to connect with peers in a way that they might not be able to outside of the space. It's a gateway as well as a training space for youth of getting to experience all of these things. The youth engagement team does a great job of bringing the outside in.
I've gone through several different ideas of what I want to do in my future, or, you know, I had these crazy, outlandish, I'm gonna do this thing. Like I went to UO, you know, really thought I could do all that, graduating early, I'm there at 17. I was able to call Jay and be like, hey, I'm struggling. Like, I need more support. I can't just be out here on my own trying to do all this. I came back to Portland. This is my hometown. I mean, born and raised here, and it was really life-saving. Also, just to be able to come back and have support, have a community of people, know people. It's really great to be able to have something to fall back on like that. Because if I would have stayed there and tried to do it myself without the sense of community, it would have been really, really rough.
I still talk to almost all my guys who graduated. I saw Will last month. So we were able to still communicate. It's just in a different capacity. And also, like, the biggest change is, like, I let them all know of, like, I'm no longer leading the charge of engagement. And so you are gonna have to reach out sometimes, and you are gonna have to go like, hey, how are you? And because now we've moved into more of peers, I'm not in the same role to show up of like, I'll set a plan for us, I'll carve the time out. Like, there is gonna be some reciprocation that's needed, because that's also what it looks like as adults. And so it's still lessons being taught and learned. But also for all of them, like, what's for sure known for all of them is that, like, I'm here, and like, as long as they want me to be, I'm around.